Okay, so this is the new work from today. Lost my marker. And basically, it's very similar to what we did before, where we took something and we plugged it in, except this time you have more than one function. More than one function. So if you'll read up here at the top, it says, show all your work for credit, work must be neat, and answers must be circled. You don't have to circle your answers. Obviously, you're doing this on Kami. But I would like to see at least a little bit of the work, which I know will be kind of a pain in the rump to type it all in. But if you could just do maybe a couple problems on each little section where you show your work, that way I can kind of look at it when I go over it, and I'll know what I need to go over tomorrow in class, okay? But basically what's happening here is we've got more than one equation. F of x is 2x minus 1. That's what f of x is equal to. G of x is 3x. H of x is x squared plus 1. So what they're asking you to do on this equation is to go to the g equation and plug in -3. But then they're saying something about f here too. So you read this as f of g of -3. You work all of these from the inside out. So for question number 1, I'm going to go to the g equation and plug in -3 and get an answer. Then I'm going to take that answer and plug it into the f equation. So f of g of -3. Okay, so I'm going to do g of -3 first. So go to g and plug in -3. So what is 3 times -3? -9. So now g of -3 is actually -9. So now I'm going to go to the f equation, and they had g of -3 here, right? But I now know that this is 9, -9. So now I'm going to go to the f equation and plug in -9. So here's the f equation, 2 times x minus 1, but x is now -9. So 2 times -9 is -18, minus 1 is -19. So my final answer is -19. Okay, for number 4, it says do f of g of h of 2. Work from the inside out. So take the h equation and plug in 2. H equation is x squared plus 1. So h of 2 would be 2 squared plus 1, which is 5. 2 squared is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. So now I'm going to go to the g equation and use that answer. So g of 5, 3 times 5 is 15. So now I'm going to go to the f equation and use that answer. And f is 2x plus 1, so 2 times 15 plus 1. 2 times 15 is 30. 30 plus 1 is 31. So the final answer is 31. Okay? All right, now let's try the next ones. We've already done those. That was on Friday's work. So you're just going to go to the f equation and plug in this, right? Oh, I forgot to show you one other thing. This right here, look at number 3. It says g little circle h of 24. That's another way to write this, g of h of 24. So it's the same thing those other ones were, right? So I'm going to go to the h equation and plug in 24. Oh, that's going to be a big number, 24 squared plus 1. And then take that answer and plug it in for x in the g equation. Okay? So hopefully that helps you there. That's just a composition. It means g composed with h of 24. Okay? Same thing as the other parentheses there. All right. Now let's go down and look at this. So we're going to change up our equations a little bit. And now we're using the whole function here. So this is to take the f equation and plug in what g of x is. So I'm going to go to the f equation, and instead of x in the f equation, I'm going to use this whole thing in its place. So -3, and in place of x, I'm going to use some stuff, plus 7. The stuff that I'm going to use is whatever g of x is, 2x squared minus 8. Just like before, we're going to distribute. So -6x squared, a negative times a negative is a positive. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 7. These will combine and be 31, so plus 31. -6x squared plus 31. And this means the same thing. Okay, that would be equal to g of f of x. So it's backwards of what we just did, huh? We just took g and plugged it into f. This time we're going to take f and plug it into g. Okay? And then the same thing down here on 12 and 13. They just didn't write it in the parentheses. They wrote it with the compositions. But work from the inside out. So plug 3 into g and get that answer, and then take that answer and plug it into f. All right, then the last thing. Let's work one of these that are more difficult. Let's try maybe 14 and 16. So I'm going to take f of g of 12. So I'm going to take g of 12. I'm going to take the g equation and plug in 12. So I need to know what g of 12 is. So the square root of 12 minus 8. 12 minus 8 is 4. What is the square root of 4? 2. Now I'm going to take that and plug it into the f equation. So now I'm finding f of 2. So -4 times 2 plus 2. -8 plus 2 is -6. And then you would do the same thing down here on this one. Now this one's going to be a little bit harder because they ask you to plug the whole x in, remember? So sometimes you need to distribute, sometimes you might need to use the full method. First, outer, inner, last, if it's a whole binomial squared. But just try these, take your time and work through them. Again, you only have about half of them left to do. There's, I think, 21 on here, okay, and that got us through a few of them anyway, all right?